MultimediaJay radio style.
Stop the presses, everyone. Stop the presses. The Morrowind mod to end them all has arrived. Yeah. There's a bit of an Elder Scrolls renaissance going on right now with all this new information that just came out about Elder Scrolls Skyrim, which is basically Bethesda's next Elder Scrolls game, and it's supposed to be released on 11/11/11. And with all this information coming out, folks like myself have been going back and playing some old Elder Scrolls games like Oblivion and even Morrowind. I myself had a Morrowind renaissance this past weekend where I went to this website that had this big list of graphical improvement mods, gameplay improvement mods, patches, and even programs that would patch the Morrowind EXE so it wouldn't crash as much. And I just went to town with this list and installed Morrowind with a ton of mods and just very much brought Morrowind into our day and time graphics-wise. Of course, I haven't been the only person doing stuff like this. Over the past couple of months, various modders have been working on gigantic Morrowind mod compendium projects where they take a whole bunch of mods that improve the graphics and the gameplay and all this sort of stuff and put them together in basically gigantic downloadable packages that are like 1 to 4 gigs or something like that, and you can download the whole mod collection and install it all in one shot. Yeah, lots of stuff like that. I know of 2 projects off the top of my head. One of them is called Morrowind 2011. Basically, what happened to that project was it kind of dissolved in a big steaming vat of Morrowind mod forum drama because of some issues related to did the guy who made it get permission from the modders to include their work in his mod pack and stuff like that. I realize, mod making isn't easy and it's their work and they spend all this time making it, but I mean, this is Bethesda's game. I mean, there's a whole bunch of arguments we could have about who owns what, who has the right to do what, and who can do what about what, and things like that, but I'm going to skip all that because I could care less about that sort of drama. This kind of thing really doesn't surprise me because I've seen it before on the official Morrowind forums. I've seen incidents like this happen before, and I actually haven't posted on the official Morrowind/Oblivion/Elder Scrolls forums in about 5 years or so. I stopped posting in 2006 after the fanboy wars started up over Oblivion between the Oblivion PC owners and the Oblivion Xbox 360 owners. I mean, overall, drama's drama, really not worth anyone's time, etc. There's been another project going on, though, one that caught the attention of the folks over at the actual Bethesda blog, that, as you can see in the picture up above. It's called Morrowind Overhaul. This project's been going on since 2008 from the looks of it, and there are a ton of mods that have been all put together into this gigantic mega mod that's now up for download and the Bethesda blog is talking about. It looks really nice, so I figured, you know what, let's try that out, let's install it. Unfortunately, after installing Morrowind Overhaul's graphics and sounds release, this is probably going to be the first and last mod of this type that I ever install. Now, the folks that made this thing definitely deserve some credit. It's obviously a very ambitious project, and it's also a rather robust package of mods here. I mean, it's quite a huge download, but they didn't slack at any of the features. They made it easy to install, they gave it an installer, and there's even a third-party utility to change the parameters of the various mods you have installed to customize what the game's going to look like without having to do tons of tweaking in the data files folder. Here's a screenshot of it from the how-to file, and it's a pretty interesting tool. The mods are basically represented in the GUI here, and you can check the boxes and click the radio buttons to change what's enabled and disabled. And it actually gives you those, if you actually mouse over the options, it actually shows you some pictures of what things are going to look like with various mods installed or uninstalled or something along those lines. I did some fiddling with this, and the install took about 15 minutes or so. And actually, it even went through in sequence all the various utilities, too, like the Morrowind graphics extender, Morrowind frames per second optimizer. I mean, I've been using the FPS optimizer since the first time I played this game through. And, of course, some other things as well. So I started the game, started as an Imperial, because my last character was a Nord, so I wanted to go back to a more jack-of-trades type character and see if I could beat the game that way. And so I started my character off, went through the main quest to meeting Caius and Balmora, then I went to join the Imperial Legion, and I didn't even get to my first quest before I wound up uninstalling this whole thing and the game. So now pretty much everything's wiped out and I'm starting all over from scratch. When I arrived in Nisus to get my first Imperial Legion quest, I noticed that it was raining out, actually a thunderstorm, and there was no sound for the weather whatsoever. I'm like, okay, what's this? A glitch? I think I'll go install atmospheric sound effects and some other mods and basically just tweak this even further. So I tried doing that, and lo and behold, something somewhere along the lines deleted some fonts that are necessary to run the game, and my game wouldn't start. Well, that was the beginning and the end of that. I pretty much afterwards just uninstalled everything and didn't look back. Could I have fixed it? Yeah, probably. I could have installed the game somewhere else and then just copied the files over, or I could have gone through and looked through the documentation of this mega mod to see what happened and how I could fix it. But why should I go to all that trouble? I mean, I've been playing this game on and off for the past over 5 years. I've been playing this since my last year in college. I know Morrowind. I've beaten the game, and I've modded the heck out of it. You've seen the screenshots in my Tribute to Morrowind, photo montages. I mean, I was fiddling with all kinds of mods. I was one of those Morrowind players where you would see screenshots or me playing Morrowind, and you'd ask, is there even an original game still under there somewhere? Because I modded the living daylights out of it. Now, these mod packs or compendiums or whatever you want to call them, they're a good idea, but even that has its limits. It's like building your own computer versus buying a bare-bone kit and a few parts to go with it. I mean, if you want to really build your own computer from scratch and have what you create truly be yours, you're going to build the whole thing from scratch, get all the parts, and have custom control over everything. Whereas if you buy a bare-bone kit where you just have to add a processor and RAM, you're getting whatever the bare-bone kit person or manufacturer sells you. And that's pretty much what you have with these mod compendiums. I mean, the fun in modding the heck out of Morrowind is having to back up gigs and gigs of data from your Morrowind folder because you're always experimenting with stuff, but it's all in this giant quest to make the world of Morrowind and Vardenfell and Mournhold and Solstheim all basically your own little world. Mod packs like this kind of take that away. I mean, I could have probably looked up how that third-party program worked, but what if I wanted to install a newer version of the mod than what that thing supported? I mean, would I be forced into keeping the old version of the mod until the mega mod creators updated their program so I could still use it? And I went fiddling around in the mod list, too. A lot of the mods that the game used weren't even checked when I accessed them through the data files menu. So I'm thinking maybe this program might do more than meets the eye here. All in all, though, there are going to be people who like these mod packs and these super giant mods, and they're going to download them and have fun with them. And if you're one of those people, by all means, have a blast. But if you do that, you're really missing out on the fun that can be had by trying to make Morrowind literally, your own customized game. I mean, the game itself is already one of those open-ended sandbox RPGs where you basically play or control another character in a whole other world. I mean, the whole be somebody else thing is really well represented here. And yeah, Morrowind's got its gimmicks and its shortcomings and things like that. It's not perfect, but there are some things Morrowind does better than Oblivion, even though Oblivion does a lot of things better than Morrowind. It's hard to believe, but yeah, the two games are kind of like salt and pepper to one another. One's good at this, the other's good at that, things along those lines. But that's beside the point. I'd say if somebody wants to download these mega mods, these mod packs or mega mods, whatever you want to call them, and install them, by all means. I mean, who cares? It's their game. It's their way of having fun. But it just seems like there's more fun in actually finding the latest versions of the mods you want to use and then getting them all working and actually kind of like making one of these things from scratch. I mean, when I tried the Morrowind Renaissance thing over the weekend, I spent 2 hours installing mods. I should have spent more time too, because there were problems like conflicts and stuff like that. I didn't check with the construction set whether the mods had the right versions of Morrowind Tribunal and Blood Moon's master files. So I had some trouble with that, and I'm gonna redo that from scratch and do everything right this time. But ultimately, once everything's all done, I'll have a game that I can play and enjoy that's nearly 10 years old, but looks and plays like a game that only came out a couple of years ago, which is awesome. But you don't get that when you're using somebody else's pre-configured mod pack, and you have to stick to what the mod pack has in it. Bottom line, if you want to download one of these mega mod packs and go to town with it, by all means, have a blast. It's your game. As for me, though, I'm going to stick to this instead. Yeah, that's right. mod lists on sites like this blog called Morrowind Expanded. There's also another one I used to go to several years ago called Telesphoros List of Mods, but I don't know if that's current anymore. This is the sort of thing to reference if you want to customize the living daylights out of Morrowind, because you don't have to download anything. It's just a giant mod list, and you can see a small description of what the mods do and stuff like that, and you can actually go find the newest versions of these mods rather than having to use whatever comes in like the mod pack or something if you go the mod pack route. But I just think that this whole mod list thing probably is a much better idea than putting up a giant 1, 2, 3, 4 gig download that has to constantly be updated and stuff. Plus, it gets people some experience fiddling around with the data files folder and actually customizing the game firsthand instead of just sitting there watching an installer and then wondering what happened afterwards. In any event, check the video description for relevant links and sites to look at, other videos to watch, things like that. I've got me some work to do because I've got me some mods to download because I want to play me some Morrowind. Till next time, I'm MultimediaJay. This is MultimediaJay Radio Style. Don't touch that dial.